Hello and welcome back to another video here on the channel. My name is Riley, and in today's video I am doing a review of FM23 beta version. I gotta add that. This is the beta review. Not the full game, because there could be some changes that come out, some updates, some patches maybe. But for the most part, this is probably what the game's gonna look like with, again, a little bit of updating maybe. But I'm gonna do a little review. The beta has been out for a week. A week and a bit, and the full game comes out later this week, I believe. So I figured it'd be a good time to do a good review. I've played lots. If you are a follower of my channel, you have probably seen all the videos that I've done for this game thus far, and I have done quite a few. I have done a save of Tottenham. I've done a couple other random saves, a short video with Man United, with Wolves, and I have a pretty good idea of what the game entails at this point. And for the most part, I am very happy with the game. Mostly because I'm one of those types of people that every year a sport game would come out, historically, that is, I would get it. Regardless of how big the changes are, I would still buy it. As a kid, I would buy Madden, I would buy FIFA each year, even though the changes really were just like a data update for the most part. And so I'm a little bit biased because I would buy Football Manager regardless. But I know a lot of people aren't that way. They don't look at a new game coming out each year and be like, oh, I got to get my hands on that, because they are aware that not a whole lot will change, especially outside of updating the data. And with mods and how people update data packs now, honestly, you probably don't need to buy the game every single time. But I'm going to share some pros and cons of the beta thus far, and things that I think are going to make the game better, and it will go from there. So the first thing I want to add, or first thing I want to touch on, is obviously the start menu is a little bit different. The customization of your character, your manager, is a little bit more, not refined, but a little bit more updated. And honestly, I don't really think they should be spending a lot of time on that, because I don't care. I don't even see what my guy looks like. And honestly, I use the automatic face scanner thing from a photo, and I look nothing like that guy, in my opinion. I could be wrong, but besides that, other features of the game that I'm interested in are, but again, that's not very important, so we'll jump into actually important features of the game, and that is scouting. Scouting supposedly has been updated, and it has actually been updated, to be fair, but do I prefer it more than FM22 scouting? I would probably say yes, maybe. I don't know. Despite it being updated, I still don't love it. I think there could have been I think they could have done a lot more to it than what has been done. I still find it a little confusing. Like, obviously this window is pretty similar. The recruitment focus is a big thing. And the recruitment focus is, it's not that it's confusing, but it's kind of annoying, to be honest. I'm not a huge fan of the recruitment focus and how to use it. And that's the same with, well, this is a bigger version of the recruitment focus. I guess you can create a recruitment focus, and then you can like assign a scout to it. But it's honestly, it's kind of confusing. And that's the same with the scouts themselves. These are the scout assignments, and I can't click on that apparently. So that's great. It tells me what areas of the world are currently being scouted. Apparently, I've not. How am I not scouting? What is that? Germany, Netherlands? How are they not being scouted? That seems to be same with northern part of South America. I don't. And that's the thing. I thought I had scouts in those areas, but apparently I do not. I guess maybe they haven't left on their trip yet. Like this, Germany, Poland. Okay. Why do I click on? Well, this is incorrect. So I click on Hans Martin Klitsch. I don't know. And it shows Western Africa. I'm like, okay, maybe that's just what it is. But then I click on Dejan Veseljev, and he is a Balkan. He's from Serbia, and he is currently focused on Serbia and other areas. But and it shows that area, East Asia with K Tamura, and again Why do they keep showing Western Africa for areas? So there definitely seems to be some glitches here. And honestly, it's just not very intuitive. Like, it took me a little while to actually figure out how to assign certain scouts and how to actually focus on different areas, which is annoying. So I'm not a huge fan of that. The scouted players area is pretty much the same. Scouting coverage, match and team analysis. Again, I haven't really delved into that too much at this point. But again, as far as things go, it is a little confusing. It is not as intuitive as I'd like it to be. And I haven't done any special tests or anything on what's the best way to scout, whether it's by clicking on a couple nations. I know Zealand did a video or a study, or he did a review last year, or an FM22 rather, and he concluded that focusing on a few nations in a certain geographical area were better than scouting regions. So I'm curious if regions are, again, returned to being better than just doing national scouting, because national scouting is a little bit more specific and honestly annoying, because it's a lot easier to just be like, I want to scout Northern Europe. So, and it's also not clear what those certain areas include. Northern Europe / Northeastern Europe, or South Europe versus Central Europe. And I know some people with geographic prowess are able to identify that, but in Football Manager, it's a little bit more confusing. So it's something that is a little bit annoying to me, and something that I'd like to be updated, to say the least. It also would be nice, too, that if I were to, let's say, Scouting Center, Scouting Coverage, assignment, if I was going to send David Williams, who his knowledge of Wales and England is extensive, and he actually speaks Italian too, and Welsh, so that's pretty cool. But if I were to send him to, let's say, France, and he spent 2 years in France, I would like to be able to see his language skill in French go from basic to good to fluent or whatever. But unfortunately, I don't think that's a feature in this game. Oh, and that's actually kind of interesting. He's a preference to scout in Italy. I have not noticed that before. What does Jenny Nielsen say? No plans for the future, even though he speaks a million languages. All right, well, that doesn't matter. So, yeah, there's a few bugs in scouting. Do I think they're all going to be updated and fixed? No, but I would like Northeastern Europe. Cool, that makes sense. What about this? That makes sense. Western Africa, that makes sense. Makes sense. They struggle with other parts of Europe, though, because definitely he's supposed to be in Greece, not Western Africa. Again, not Western Africa. Again, that is supposed to be. Yeah, this is super annoying already. I'm just getting annoyed by looking at this. South America, 4 areas. France, Spain, Italy, 4 areas here. U.S., Mexico. So, anyways, hopefully that gets updated. Another area that I find kind of cool, but one that I probably should use more and I haven't used more, and that's the squad planner. The squad planner is a new feature in FM23. Obviously, it's just been added to the game, and in theory, it is very cool. It's just a nice way to organize who you have in the squad, from your starters to your backups, essentially. And you can ask your assistant to suggest who's best for your tactic or your position. You can add from your short list, from your under 21s, and it's good for planning purposes. Then you can click on next season to see who's going to be available in the season after. And it also shows agreed playing time and all that jazz. What I find good about this is that it definitely keeps everything organized and everything in one area. I love this idea, but I have not actually been able to utilize it so far in my save, and that's mostly because I just don't think about it. When it comes to planning for the future, I know there are ways that you can add people from your short list into there. For example, if I was going to put Jordan Pickford. Why did I put Jordan Pickford there? I don't know, but why did it let me pick Jordan Pickford? He is not anything there. And why is he in my short list anyways? I don't understand this. So it's just not flushed out completely in my mind. It has not been updated to the point where I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. That is great. This is very helpful. I think this could be a great tool moving forward, but it just needs to be a little bit more intuitive, especially when you want to add players to the squad planner for planning purposes. For example, I go to right backs, and I have a right back that's going to be coming in, but I don't know if I could actually add him. Well, he's on my short list though, so I actually can add him. So I got lucky there. So, oh, see, it goes away. So the planning isn't that great. It's kind of confusing still, but I think it could be a lot better. You can put specific recruitment focuses for the position that you're on, which I think is cool. But again, I think for me, it's gonna take some time to get used to the idea to better utilize it in my gameplay. Others might have already been really good at it, or you might still prefer to do your own spreadsheet or take your own notes on the side. But this definitely is a feature that I think has a lot of potential to be really helpful moving forward. I know people mentioned that the timeline or your inbox was going to be updated a little bit. And honestly, there are things that are cool about it. Like, for example, having the supporter expectations being a thing in the game. I think that is really cool. And I like how we have that different aspect of pressure, because I know the pressure is not just from the board. The fans play a huge role in it. And up to this point in FM world, there haven't been those expectations from fans, but now there are. But for the most part, the timeline is pretty much the same. Not a whole lot of changes. I still get a ton of messages, most of which are hard to follow. And again, the scouting updates are pretty much the same. They come in the same way, and there's just a lot of information there. It's not always clear about what scout they come from. That would be a little bit more beneficial if it was clearer as to what scout was providing the feedback and where they come from in that regard. But so far, it's good. It's good. It's not a whole lot of changes when it comes to the inbox. And last is probably the biggest change to the game, and that is the match engine. The match engine has improved a lot in my opinion. No more, and by that I mean it has become a little bit more realistic. And by little, I mean it actually has become quite a bit more realistic. When it comes to passes, players' touch, shots, goalkeeping, the ball is kind of going all over the place, and it's a little bit more chaotic, which is real life football. For example, when a player passes the ball, it doesn't automatically go to his teammate. Sometimes it'll go ahead of the teammate, and the guy has to run more, or it goes to the opposite team, or it just goes into space and it was just a bad pass, or it goes out of bounds. There's a lot more of that, the inaccuracy of passes. And honestly, that is the same with player handling of the ball, dribbling. There's not dribble skills or anything like that, but the player is likely to lose the ball when he comes up to an opponent. Or when the player takes a touch, the touch is not perfect every time. It's not highlight real touches. Sometimes the player's touch is bad and it results in him losing possession of the ball, or it includes defenders messing up and then conceding a goal or what have you. All in all, I think the match engine improvements are huge. It makes the game a little bit more difficult, but that much more enjoyable. The realism is why I like to play the game, and any features that make the game more realistic are a big win for me. So at the end of the day, FM23, the beta, has been out for a week and a half. The full game will be coming out soon. And I know the question you're wondering is, should I buy this? And I'm not going to tell you whether or not to buy it because, again, like I said earlier in this video, I am biased. I would buy it no matter what. I'll keep on buying it because I keep enjoying it. And I like that. And I'll keep doing it regardless of how big the changes are. But if you're someone that doesn't really care too much about the data updates, or you have means of finding it online through data packs that people provide, then maybe it's not for you. But in my opinion, the match engine update alone is enough that I would recommend this game. The match engine is more enjoyable in my opinion. It was still good before, but I definitely would say that's a huge pro. The squad planner is also interesting and I think could be a good feature, but not one that's like, you got to do it for the squad planner. Also, scouting is still an issue in my opinion. It's not as intuitive as it should be. And with a game like Football Manager where scouting is such a key aspect of the game, you would think it would be a little bit more intuitive and honestly just make your life a little bit easier instead of making it more confusing. So all in all, I like the game. I would recommend, I know I said I wouldn't actually suggest whether you do it or not, but I would recommend you buy it. I enjoy it, and I will continue making videos on this channel for the duration of the FM23 lifespan. So if you enjoyed this video, leave a like, leave a comment. Let me know what you think of FM23. I know there's lots of opinions going around. I know lots of videos have been made about FM23 and its impact and overall change since FM22 and whether it's worth it or not. But at the end of the day, I think it is. But like I said, I am biased and would buy it regardless. So thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next FM23 video. Bye-bye.